Hello and welcome to a new episode of the Success Grade podcast with your host Hussein Talib. I have a special guest today, Tommy Breedlove. He's a Wall Street Journal and USA Today best-selling author and a mindset coach who is a regular featured keynote speaker at global events. Tommy, welcome to the grid.
Hussein, it is great to be here, my brother. And for the audience, he's been very patient and flexible with me today due to some very bad traffic in the Southeast United States. So thank you very much for your grace and flexibility, my friend.
Thank you. No problem. Anytime. Okay, so you have your book Legendary, which is the name itself I love, and you actually sent me a copy, but I still haven't got it yet.
It's en route.
Hopefully it will arrive soon. I will talk about that later. But first, tell us about your story. Where were you? How were you in corporate or before that? And how did you change and become where you are now?
Yeah, so I grew for 20 years, I was in large public accounting, financial consulting, and mergers and acquisitions firm. I grew up at a company called Deloitte. It's a very, very big company.
Deloitte,
It's
big one of the big four, yeah.
Yeah, and that's where I grew up and cut my teeth. And I went and chased the what we call the dream, of money, success, power, the things that a lot of us want. And I came from very humble beginnings. And so I was the first person to graduate college in my family. And, I always thought that, with more money came more happiness, more success came more happiness, and, more power came happiness. And so at 36 years old, I had all of the shiny objects. I had the suit, the tailor-made suit, the cufflinks, the corner office, the car, all this stuff, right? The things, it's just shiny things. And wondered why I was still not happy, not fulfilled. And literally went through a massive transformation at 36 years old.
Oh, cool.
And stopped trying to be something I wasn't. And I wore all these masks and armor because I never wanted to be Tommy. I was the tough guy, important guy, arrogant guy, couldn't ask for help guy. And every single one of those things was the facade. And it really wasn't, it was just insecurities and fear. And so when I went through this massive transformation at 36 years old, my life completely changed. I'll tell you what it looked like before. I was one of the most hated people in the firm because I was competitive, political, competitive. It was just bad.
You had your own opinion about things and you didn't listen to anyone.
Exactly. And arrogance is insecure. Arrogance is fear-based. Arrogance is loud. Courage is calm and quiet and peaceful. And that's what I literally went from being one of the most disliked people to one of the most beloved. I went from working 70 and 80-hour weeks down to about 30. Yeah, maybe
that's
more sometimes.
That's a lot of hours.
Maybe more. Yeah, down to 35 or 40 hours a week, just by being a better person, just by being a better leader, just by doing what I call the inner game, working on my heart, my mind, my soul. And then, my money doubled. I'm not kidding. In 3 years, just this transformation happened in 3 years. Yes. My marriage went from being borderline on collapse to the strongest it had ever been. My network of friends increased 10x. And then literally I found peace, joy, happiness, and fulfillment in life. Cool. And all of these people in my network started reaching out to me and saying, I want help. How did you do it? How did you not give up your success? How did you not give up your ambition? How did you not give up your drive? And how did you find peace and happiness in life? And I just started helping these people with their mindset, with their relationship, with their wives or husbands. I just started helping them for free because I never planned on leaving the financial world. I literally, in those 3 years, by the way, went from junior partner to international practice leader to elected to the board of directors and a shareholder. I had left Deloitte, but at a huge company in the Southeast United States just by being a decent person. And that's when all of these corporate executives, entrepreneurs, bankers, lawyers, accountants started reaching out and asking me for help. And about the 30th person, I was like, there is something in this and it makes me happy. So I walked away at the top of the game. I sold all my equity in the company, resigned my board seat, and started doing leadership, executive mindset, and relationship coaching. And it's thus turned into Wall Street Journal and USA Today bestselling book. It's turned into a world-class, we run retreats and conferences and one-on-one. And so I've just absolutely loved this path that I've been on for the last 10 years, but it took a lot of courage to walk away at the top of the game.
You were like a lot of us. I am still in corporate, and hopefully I will go out soon. But the place that you were in is like, it's like, I think I'm a banker, so I think like, and I studied accounting. I guess you did study accounting as
I
well,
did.
right? Yeah.
Yes.
So we do want to reach that kind of level to be EVP, SVP, or what, whatever
Yeah.
it is. But sometimes I think even if it's that place and this big, huge salary and bonuses, I don't want to be that guy. Because to me, to myself, I always look at them, and they always put the employees, the small ones, let's say, out of the picture. When, for example, a pandemic happened, they let people go, which is the small guys. They don't let the big guys go, because maybe certain things they see, for example, you see the economy, we want to cut people, we want to cut costs, whatever it is. But you mentioned two things, like, in your story, you were the first to finish college from within your family, and you talked a little bit about how success is and how people came to you. But how did you feel like finishing college? Do you think it's important now from your experience? And the second thing is success, because success is basically, it's a process. It's an everyday thing that we do, and it's different from one person to another. How do you look at that?
How do I look at success?
Oh, yeah.
Yep. Let me start with college. University is, for me, I came from a place in the world. It opened my eyes to so much more. Like, I didn't know that. I come from my first 18 years were loaded with violence and all this other stuff. So I came from a place that just wasn't very happy.
Mm.
And so for me, and let me tell you a really good story real quick, and then I'll answer both of your questions, I promise. But the story is, the truth of the story is I was scheduled to be the first person I had a scholarship, for lack of a better word, because I had good enough grades and talent to get a scholarship at a big university. The problem is I grew up in and around a lot of violence. And at 18 years old, I became the violence that I hated. And I committed a crime at 18 years old, and was looking at 7 years in prison.
Oh,
And
that's
so it was big. And so luckily it was dropped to lesser charges, but I was sentenced to 2 years and spent my 19th birthday incarcerated.
oh, that's
The reason I tell
tough.
you that is my path to college wasn't quite, a narrow, straight
Straight line,
path. It
yeah.
was winding, right? So when I got out of jail, luckily I did not get charged. We have something in the United States called felonies. That's the high crimes. Luckily, it was not that. It was dropped to a lower crime, which is really good. Otherwise, you and I would probably not be talking today.
Like
Truth be story.
it's a misdemeanor. They call it a misdemeanor or something like
Correct.
that. Yeah.
Absolutely correct. Very, very great. That's awesome. That's a word that I barely even understand. I live here. But what was cool about that is it allowed me to reassess. It allowed me to get away from some real negative influences that are around me. I literally went to work in a nuclear waste container factory for little money during the day, running a machine all day long, lifting these big, big containers. I was putting myself through community college at night, did end up back at university, and went from literally a jail cell to Deloitte in 3 years.
Wow,
And so that was
that's huge. Like, if you tell that story to anyone, they would probably say, or they won't believe you.
It's a true
Like,
story.
actually, yeah, because a lot of people, especially people who study accounting, like myself, sometimes at least they want something. They want to study. They want to work in these kind of places, the big four, like Deloitte, PwC, and Ernst and Young. These kind of places. It's a kind of experience, at least for 2-3 years. Yeah.
But for me, to answer your question about college, and then I'll answer your question about success. I thought that perspective was important because of my beliefs on college. Do I believe everyone should go to college? Absolutely not. there's so much information out there. There's so much books and podcasts and how to be successful. And but what it did for me is it opened my eyes to opportunity. It gave me what I call the language of business. You speak as good as English as I do, but accounting and numbers is the language of business, right? It's what we all speak around the world. It's a unified language.
Yeah.
And so it allowed me to learn a lot about business, a lot about money, a lot about accounting, and it opened up an entire network and opportunity. Like I would have never dreamed of being hired at 21 years old at Deloitte when I was 10 years old. Hell, I didn't even know what Deloitte was. It was just some fancy French name for all I know, And so, so for me, it gave me a foundation and understanding for business. It opened my eyes to happiness, success. And, when you're in college, everybody's learning and happy. And well, at least where I was, they were. And so for me, college was instrumental to my success. An accounting degree was because I've been an entrepreneur now for 11 years and I own a lodge in North Georgia here in the United States. I have a world-class executive coaching business and retreats. We've got our hands in real estate. So college allowed me to learn how to do all that.
Yeah.
But
Accounting is good for business. Yeah.
Yeah. And so it gave me an incredible opportunity and an incredible background. And so for me, it was a yes, but I don't think it's for everybody. So for me, success equals one thing. Success is freedom. Freedom to do what you want to do. And so that success is I get to get up every day and the buck stops here. If my boss is the mirror, right? I look in the mirror and I can either be a great boss or a bad boss to myself, right? The hardest thing to lead is ourselves. And so for me, entrepreneurship success is freedom. And I'm talking about financial freedom, time freedom, the freedom of choice. And that's really, to me, the only power we have in this world is the power of choice.
Yeah, exactly.
And so for me, success equals freedom.
Oh, cool. Awesome. So speaking of success, does that relate, for example, to having a purpose or finding a purpose or things around that?
So that's a great question. So this is a core belief of mine. I believe every single human being on earth has a purpose, and I believe it changes depending on the seasons of our lives.
Yeah, I love that season of our lives. Yes. Okay, cool. Yeah. It should change. It's not like it's one thing and it's done. It should be evolving.
Always evolving. And depending on what season you're from our first breath to when we come out of mom to our last breath, which that's one thing that we all have in common as well, is we're not here for a long period of time.
Yeah.
We have a purpose until our very last breath. And to me, I'm one of those fortunate human beings that I love getting the best out of people. I love making them more happy in life, more successful with money, better leaders, better husbands and wives. I mean, it's a thing. And that's why I do conferences and retreats and I do one-on-one coaching. I get to live my purpose every day to help people build and live a legendary life. It's literally for this season what I was put on this earth for. And so for me, there's responsibility is different from purpose. A lot of people think their kids are their purpose. No, your kids are your responsibility. That's a bigger, higher thing.
Yeah, that's
your purpose is
exactly.
Your purpose is where you use your talents to serve society, this planet, an organization, another person. It's where you serve. And that's the place where we find fulfillment. So yes, I think finding your purpose is key to fulfillment. It's key to joy, but it's key to also being a net giver and not a net taker.
I love that. I actually had an episode with C.S. Solkovitz. He was talking about givers and takers. It was cool. So speaking, it's not a little bit my subject, but kids, when people look at it as a purpose, it's not a purpose because like you mentioned, it's responsibility because we see a lot of parents neglect and they don't raise their kids, they leave them on the street. So what's that about? Anyways. Yeah, that's bad.
I agree. They're your responsibility. Safety, make them good citizens, make them good people, lead them, help them define their purpose, and make them proactive in life. Children are a responsibility, not your purpose.
Cool. So from your point of view, how important is it is to surround ourselves with people whose success, failures, and skills make us go forward and grow?
Great question. You hang out with 5 drunk people, guess what you're gonna be? You're gonna be a drunk. I mean, that's just the truth. If you hang out with 5 angry people, you're gonna be angry. You hang out with 5 unsuccessful people, you're gonna be unsuccessful. However, if you hang out with 5 people who are just getting started, who want to be successful,
Mhm.
you're gonna become successful. You are, I mean, every single great guru, coach, spiritual leader, you name it. I mean, this is ancient, thousands of years old wisdom, man.
Mm, cool. Yeah,
You
exactly.
are who you surround yourself with. You know, it's
Mm,
the if you if you find yourself angry all the time, judgmental all the time, not as successful as you want to be, I guarantee you, if you look around you, those people who are around you, both friends, family, everybody else, they're going to be in that same boat too. If you hang out with happy people, you'll be happy. If you hang
mm,
out with people who want to be successful, you will become successful. And that's just the law. It's some universal law that's bigger than me, but there's a reason every single great spiritual text, every great coach, every great writer, all the great music, everybody talks about you must surround yourself with the people that are going in the same direction. It's just
mm,
like let's take social media as example. Social media and news is pollution. They're wanting anger, they're wanting division, they're wanting jealousy, they're wanting envy, and everybody's LinkedIn successful or Instagram fabulous. And that's not reality. You know what I'm saying? So that's not so if you're constantly
mm,
watching the news and getting mad and angry, or you're constantly looking at negative social media, that's pollution going into your mind, your eyes, and your ears. But if you listen to a great podcast, a great book, have a great conversation with a friend, walk in nature, exercise, nap, that's nutrition, that's goodness. And so
mm,
not only do we have to surround ourselves with the right people, we also have to our inputs, our eyes, our ears, what we read, what we watch, what we see, that's got to be success, happy, joy, love, success. It's got to be so it's a two-way street. It's who you surround yourself with, and it's also what you input into your body.
yeah, you have to process things, and then, for example, take action on the good things that you process, and if that's bad things, you should kick them out.
You got
So
to be
yeah,
more on the positive side than the negative. You got to
yeah,
be.
yeah,
Otherwise, you'll
yeah.
just become negative.
Yeah, exactly. I meet a lot of people who are just, you can do that. This is hard. This is this. When it is actually easy, it's sometimes taking 10 steps, walking just 10 steps to achieve that thing or to do that thing. So it's like, I don't know. Some people that takes me to limiting beliefs. So, so that did you have these issues with limiting beliefs yourself when you kind of moved from corporate to your business?
I did. I lived what I would call in a scarcity mindset, full of fear, full of anger, judgment. I was judging other people, and the great gurus say when you judge somebody else, you're actually judging yourself.
Ugh.
You can soak on that for a little bit, but I did, and it was the stories that I was told as a young boy, right, from very violent and abusive people that were in my life. It's the stories I started telling myself, and it was the people I was hanging around with were angry, unhappy, unsuccessful. So like I said, I had all of these negative processes, and I was telling myself all of these lies full
Mm,
of fear, worry, insecurity, rage, anger. And I'm a firm believer that um, it's not compassion and empathy that we need in this world because humans are born with compassion and empathy. We're born with it. We just got
mm,
to rediscover it.
yeah.
Going on a limited mindset, I think if you ask me what this world needs the most, it's personal accountability.
Oh, okay.
Any anything that you believe, you can rewire. So if you have a limiting belief that money is for someone else or only those people are successful, or if you're blaming a politician or somebody else for your problems, anything that you believe. So say you're worried all the time, scared all the time, you're not as successful as you want to be, your relationship with your spouse is not where you want it to be. Anything that you believe, you can unwire and rewire to love, goodness, abundance, success, happiness, peace, courage. And so for me, I was eat up in fear insecurity, the not good enough, that voice inside our head that says,
Yeah, that's bad.
hey, I'm not good enough. I had it. And so for me, I've spent the last 12 years unwiring all of that with meditation, with reading, with podcast, with journaling, with prayer. I mean, you name it. I have all of these tools I surround myself with positive people. So I have all these tools in my toolbox that helps me stay on the side of love, that helps me stay on the side of success, that helps me stay on the side of happiness. And so I'm constantly putting knowledge, wisdom, and goodness into my eyes and ears so that I start believing in myself. And it's been an 11, 12 years, and I'm still not there, right? I still, of course, have, we all have these voices in our head that says, what if they figure out I don't know what I'm doing? What if they figure out what if they figure out my deepest, darkest desires? And, we all have these not enough. I'm not skinny enough, rich enough, famous enough, fast enough, whatever it is. And so, but I spend at least an hour a day, every day, working on my inner game,
Mm,
strengthening my heart, strengthening my mind, strengthening my soul. Because how are we going to lead others when we don't lead ourselves?
yeah,
How are we
exactly.
truly going to be able to love someone else if we don't love ourselves? How do we expect people to respect us if we don't respect ourselves? And so I work on my inner game every single day for about an hour.
Cool. Awesome. So, speaking of success, do you think there are some tools that can skyrocket success for someone in business, for example?
100%. Read every single business and personal development book you can get your hand on and apply the knowledge to your life. The thing that makes me the most sad is with people with all this knowledge that don't take action on it.
Mm,
You have to take action and apply it to your life. Unused knowledge is one of the saddest things in life. So I would say if you truly want to be more successful in life, and I'm talking money and business, and honestly your inner game too, your relationships, your friendships, your network, is you got to read and apply. And there's probably 30 great books out there that if you just reread them over and over and over again, you would be more successful, you'd have more knowledge, you'd have more self-belief and self-confidence. And if you applied these things in your life, they would change your whole life. So that's number one. The number two thing I would say is you have to prioritize you. You have to work on your mind, your heart, and your soul every single day, and your body, of course. That goes without saying. If your body's no good, you're no good. So you got to work on your body too. But I would say concentrate on applying knowledge and concentrating on your inner game to be more courageous, more confident, more self-esteem, more self-respect, more self-love, so that you can go out and lead and love and take risks without letting them overwhelm you. That's the two
me
things
too.
I would say you need the most.
Cool. So this take me to, we're talking here about, for example, being the best version of oneself. So when we're talking about being the best version of oneself, how do you see yourself growing from where you are, where were you to where you are now to how you are in the future yourself, Tommy?
Totally. And so for me, I think I spend every single day working at being a little better than I was yesterday. I'm talking about all phases of my life as a leader, in business, with my clients, with my spouse. And so what does that mean? Is that means for me is I have to work on leading myself first. I keep beating that drum. I think we have to never stop. Once we stop learning and growing, we're dying, right? Same thing in
Mm,
nature. If you're not growing, you're dying. And that's the same thing with our hearts, our minds, our souls, our businesses. And so for me, I don't know what the future holds. I don't know how long I will be here. I don't know what happens. And so I concentrate on being present. Here where my feet are right now. I concentrate on my internal growth. Again, gratitude exercises, journaling exercises, meditations, readings, concentrate on constantly growing so that I can be my best self. I don't take myself too seriously because this is a very limited time on earth. I make mistakes. Life is short. I'm not in the pride business. I'm not in the arrogance business. I'm in the confidence business. And for me, confidence is about doing the reps on yourself and in your craft. And so for me, I don't have a true where will I be in 20 years from now. I hope I'll be healthy. I hope I'll be happy. I hope I will, but hope is not a strategy. I take action
Yeah,
every
exactly.
single day to ensure that whatever comes our way, we're going to be in the best shape that we can possibly be. And so for me, my life today, like I can't tell you from money to network to success to happiness, when I started focusing on my inner game, working on me first, everything has 10x in my life. And I was a senior partner at a huge firm. I was a
Yeah,
board member and
that's
a senior partner.
yeah, that's big. Yeah. So let
And
me talk about your book, Legendary. What led you to write that book? And the name itself, it's cool actually, Legendary.
we'll start with the why I wrote it. It was 3 years of a labor of love. And by the way, it's in hardback, softback, electronic, and audible. So if my voice doesn't bother you, I will read you the book. And so
Ah,
just
you
kind of
read it
out there.
yourself.
Yeah, I read it myself. So the
Cool.
audible version's out there. And electronic, you can buy it on Nook, whatever your thing is, electronic. And it's hardback, softback. But so many people, because I had come up with all of these tools to be a better leader, to be more successful in money, to reconquer your time, to master your mindset, all of these tools to help us build and live legendary lives that I was applying, in my masterminds, I was applying it in my coaching, but I also have a pretty good story and I knew a lot of other people's great stories. And so the why I wrote it is this is literally the book that helped save my life.
Mm.
And it also is the book that helped save my marriage and the help to save my career. And so it's simple executable tools to find purpose, reconquer your time, be more financially successful, master your mindset, better relationships, better network, to hopefully build and live a legendary life. And the
Mm.
reason we put the title legendary is if I said, Hussein, if I said Tommy Breedlove is legendary, you would laugh me out of the room. I mean, you literally would.
Yeah, you
It's
you
not something we can
you
give
can
ourselves.
you can yeah, why not? You can because you have the book Legendary, so you can.
This is true. But what I love about the title legendary is usually your peers, your family, society, someone else gives that to you. And
Mm.
it has nothing to do with money or success. And money is important. I'm a money guy, but it has to do with the impact you're making on one other person, two other people, a community, a state, whatever it is.
Mm.
And so for me, legendary is something I'm inspiring to, that when my last breath is taken, that my network, my family, my friends, the people who show up at our funerals will say that human being built and lived a legendary lives, because no one's going to read our resume and no one's going to read our bank balance when we die. And I'm a money is important guy. I'm going to say that because, if one of your friends says money's not important, run from them. They're broke. That's what that's what the great T.R. Vecker says, by the way.
Yeah.
But money is not everything. It's a magnifying glass. If you're a terrible person with a lot of money, it's going to allow you to do terrible things. If
Mm.
you're a person of significance and want to make impact, it's going to magnify that impact to the. So for me, the legendary is a simple playbook with short, great stories, but simple executable tasks on how to build and live a legendary life. And
Mm.
I'm super, super thankful it's become a Wall Street Journal and USA Today
Cool.
bestseller. Super
So
thankful for that.
amazing. So from your opinion, who would you say and now is a legendary person, is a legend, or from all the old days?
So for me, in a historical, you got to remember I'm in the United States. So my perspective is going to be from living here. And so I would think legends of the past would be, I would say Martin Luther King for sure. He was an advocate for civil rights and equal rights. I would say him for sure. I would say the great presidents, Franklin D. Roosevelt, Abraham Lincoln, George Washington, they were certainly legendary people. There's a whole lot of legendary musicians and athletes and entertainers. There's a bunch of those, but the true legends, I mean, you can really be an extraordinarily bad legend as well. I mean, there's been a lot of those people, extraordinary. And we still read about them in our history books, right? But for me, there's so many legendary people out there who are humble and you don't know about them. because they're making great impact not only on themselves but others in their communities, their networks, their friends, their countries, wherever. And so I just believe all of us can be legendary. We have to aspire to it. We have to work towards it. We have to
Yeah.
work on ourselves first so that we can work on others. And so for me, there's just so many probably unknown legendary people in the world. And the Olympic Games are going on right now. Some legends are being made as we speak. So it's kind of cool.
Yes, exactly. So also you have the find your discover your purpose course, right?
I do. I do.
Yeah,
And
can you
so
talk a little bit about it?
yeah, we just launched a digital course because I think so many people struggle with what is my purpose? Why am I here? We find ourselves looking at the stars or at a fire and just contemplating life. Like, what does this all mean? Why am I here? And when we're struggling with our purpose or we don't know what our purpose, I've come up with a simple digital course it's got all the PDFs, it's got all the tools, it's short videos to help every single purpose on this earth. And it's at a really, really reasonable price point. Is I believe everyone has a purpose. I believe your purpose changes during the season of your life. And I want everyone to know what their purpose is so that they can go make impact. They can go be of service and they can find fulfillment in life. And
Mm.
so, yes, we just launched it. It's been out about 6 months and it's done quite well. And I'm pretty excited about that because I think all of us struggle with how do we do this? And this course gives you how to find your purpose. And it's pretty
Mm.
powerful.
To
Thank you
become
for allowing me to share that. I never share that, by the way. Thank
yeah,
you for
cool.
doing that.
So you can become a legendary.
God willing. But purpose
Yeah,
is only one part of it.
yeah,
You've got to be the master of your time. You've got to
exactly.
find financial confidence and freedom. You've got to master your flying set. It's about building a network. It's about having more intimate relationships with your spouse, your friends, your network. It's about mastering your mindset. So, legendary is a stew, and purpose is one ingredient of this soup and
Uh,
stew.
cool. So what would you say one takeaway from this episode, Tommy?
Oh, the takeaway from this episode, I think first takeaway is your grace and flexibility and kindness for allowing me to be a little late. Thank you for that. That's the first thing. I mean, people
Always.
around the world, I keep telling everybody because I travel a lot, pre-COVID, I was like, people around the world are just good. Stop listening to the news. I promise you, we're all the same. And so for me,
Yeah,
the takeaway,
the news is shit.
it's terrible. It's shit. That's a great word. It's bullshit too. It's not even true.
Yeah.
But here's the takeaway. If I had to give one takeaway, is go find the nearest mirror. Whatever you're lacking in your life or whatever you desire in your life, the mirror is both your problem and your solution.
Yeah,
If you want
exactly.
more financial success, you want more happiness, you want more love, you want to stop doing certain things, look in the mirror. It's both your problem and your solution. And you must take action and you must take small actions to be better every day and whatever it is you're working on. And you must participate in your own rescue.
Mm,
You must participate in your own rescue. Find the
yeah.
nearest mirror. It's not a politician's fault. It's not a country's fault. It's not your neighbor's fault. It's not somebody that looks different your fault. Go find the mirror. It's your problem and your solution, and you must participate in your own rescue.
Yeah, I'm with you here because sometimes, yeah, there's a lot of certain things like the government puts and the prices of things go up and stuff like that, and the economy is not good, the pay is not good. That's something that you cannot control. These things you cannot control. You should work on yourself instead of keeping to complain about certain things. That's the problem with a lot of us. Sometimes we complain on things that we cannot control, like you were late on with traffic, but it's something that you cannot control. It's traffic. You cannot jump off the cars and it's just not possible. Well, cool. So tell me, where can people get in touch with you?
So on social media, I'm at Tommy Breedlove on Instagram and LinkedIn and Facebook. So just find me there. We have a professional face. Please don't try to friend me on. Go to my business page because that's where we put all of our great content, and we're always putting out. So if you can be on social media and you're listening to this, if you're looking for life tips and goodness and inspiration, we don't put any negativity out there. So it's all about being better. Follow us on Instagram at Tommy Breedlove, LinkedIn at Tommy Breedlove, or Facebook. You can go to Legendary Life. You can find the book anywhere. And so electronic, Audible, we have sent one. I believe you're in Jordan, correct? We have sent one there. It might take it a minute to get there, but we have sent one there, a signed copy. But if the say a hardback or softback wherever you are in the world is not quite available there, like it is in the UK, Canada, and US, get the Audible book, get the or get the electronic. It's available. And the last thing I would say is you could go to my website if you want to learn more about the Purpose Course, you want to learn more about our leadership retreats or our executive retreats or some of the conferences we're running. It's at TommyBreedlove.com. It's that simple. TommyBreedlove.com, brother.
Your name is very musical.
And it's real. I was born with it.
Really? I thought it was just a nickname.
No, it's not like Beyonce or Jay-Z. It's real.
Cool. Well, it's TommyBreedlove.com. Thank you, Tom, for being here today with me on the Success Grid podcast. It's awesome. It's an awesome episode. Thank you.
Hussein, you're the best, brother. And I hope one day I get to hug your neck in person.
Hopefully. Thank you.
Yes.